Hello. This is probably going to be the laziest project to get from me all year. There's no real filmmaking behind this or any sort of planning. I'm just sitting here in front of the camera talking. So I'm just going to get on with it. In the past, I've never really taken the meaning of Thanksgiving seriously. I've always loved a holiday, hanging out with family, stuffing your face with food. But I never really took the actual point of the holiday all too seriously. Whenever we had those Thanksgiving projects in elementary or middle school, I never really think about it too much, and I never really cared. I mean, yeah, I'm thankful for family, I'm thankful for food, of course I'm thankful for things. That's all obvious. The reason I'm sort of doing this is because today it's November 28th, and exactly 6 months after my brother died. I just have things that I want to get off my chest. And you mentioned making this gratitude project about things we take for granted, and well, I have a lot of things that I took for granted. A lot. And it's symptomatic of a larger issue, a more ideological issue, one that I've been sort of poking away at for the past half year. Something I've come to call the "it will be fine" disease. Now you might ask, what do you mean? What is the "it will be fine" disease? What does that mean? Well, the best way I can describe it is if I tell you about it and the effect it has on people. I had three brothers, all of them much older than me. They're all like twice my age. The oldest one is actually 21 years older than me. But for reasons that I won't get into, before I was born, they were all sort of separated and isolated. They didn't really have much interaction with each other. And again, for reasons that I won't get into, family drama, all that stuff. So for a long time, I had a very distant relationship with my brothers. I would see them maybe 2 or 3 times a year. They weren't really a part of my life in any major way. But the thing about that is the oldest actually still lived with us. His bedroom was right next to mine, and during the night I could hear his music sort of thumping through the walls, and it would make it very hard to sleep at night. Yet, despite the fact that he literally lived right next to me, I was never really close to him. I only ever saw him when it was dinner time, and he would argue with my dad about politics or some random nonsense, which was always fun to watch. But I never really saw him outside of that. I never really went into his room because I was afraid of being a nuisance. I saw him as this huge authority figure who I don't want to annoy, I guess, just because he was so much older than me. And so I never really interacted with him. I would just sort of stay out of the way. So things were that way for a few years, and around the pandemic, things started to shift a little. A lot more arguing between my dad and him. Things like health, which I didn't really understand at the time. My parents kept on saying that he was sick, but I never really understood what that mean. What do you mean he's sick? Yeah, he's skinny, he doesn't eat much, but I didn't really understand how he was sick. Over the next couple of years, though, it became increasingly clear that he was unwell. Skinnier and skinnier, looking tired all the time, overall degradation in looks. Dad was always arguing with him about business, medicine, going to a doctor, but I still didn't know what was actually wrong, how he was sick. It wasn't until after he died that I found out he had Graves' disease. If you don't know what Graves' disease is, it's a disease that basically causes overstimulation of your thyroid, which is a hormonal gland, and it can lead to symptoms like weight loss, heat intolerance, and rapid heartbeats. And suddenly, a lot clicked into place. It explained why he was always shirtless in the house, why he devoured any drinks that we got. It explained his constant weight loss, no matter how much or how little he ate. He had it for over 7 years, and I didn't know. The thing is, Graves' disease is so incredibly easy to treat. There are multiple members in our family who have thyroid issues, and they just take medicine and they got a surgery and they're fine. They're living out their life happy as can be. But for whatever reason, he didn't want to. And none of us truly wanted to do something about it. He didn't want to take the medicine, and he said he didn't want the surgery because he didn't want to have a scar. And even though we argued about it, we never really did anything about it. We didn't force him to do something about it. We didn't constantly try to get to do anything about it. It was just a topic that sort of came up sometimes whenever we talked. And this all comes back to what I was talking about earlier, the "it will be fine" disease and its symptoms, specifically the symptom of inaction. The "it will be fine" disease is a mindset, and a dangerous one. One that cost him his life, my parents a son, me and my brothers a brother, and a lot of others a friend. He knew that he was getting worse, but he thought, I've dealt with this for years, and nothing's happened. It'll be fine. We saw him getting worse, but we didn't want to push him or get him to completely disconnect. That's the way he's always been. It'll be fine. That "it will be fine" mindset led to inaction from my brother, from me, my family. This sort of view that even though it's not good, nothing will ever really happen. None of us expected him to pass, and so suddenly. I remember when it was the day of the film festival, and I was sat there watching it, and I saw out of the corner of my eye my parents leaving. My mom texted me a few minutes later saying that she thinks my brother is dead. Now I don't know why. Maybe it was just shock or the inability to process what I had just read. But I sort of brushed it off. I was sat next to Evan, and I sort of told him what the text said, and he just turned to me like, "What?" And I think I said to him, he's probably just in the hospital or something. Maybe fell down some stairs and broke something. Moms exaggerate, you know how they are. It'll be fine. That's what I said. I am literally said, it will be fine. Even when everything's supposed to come crumbling down and the whole world is supposed to be shattered by one text, I just dismiss it and forget about it because it will be fine. But it wasn't. My brother lived with a roommate in the city, a lifelong friend of his. He said that my brother was lying headfirst into the couch, and even though he didn't really seem to be moving or reacting or anything, he didn't touch him because he thought he was sleeping, that he'll be fine, that it will be fine. It was only hours later that he actually bothered to check what was up and found out that he was dead. Who knows, if he didn't have the "it will be fine" disease, maybe he would have checked right away and called the ambulance. Maybe my brother would have survived. Who knows? I don't know. What I do know is that the words "it will be fine" are the four most dangerous words in the English language. No, it will not be fine. The same sort of story applies to my dog, who passed away 5 days before my brother did. My brother had adopted the dog into the family even before I was born. 16 years this dog lived, been a part of the family longer than I had. I had never gone a single day without this dog in my life. Around Christmas of 24, she had gotten extremely weak and sick. She couldn't walk, didn't drink water or eat food. She had no strength in her. We took her to the vet and got her a bunch of injections, and she started doing better again. But in May, she once again collapsed, unable to walk, drink, or eat. She sort of ate a little and drank a little, but she would just stay in her bed the whole time. And I remember throughout all of May, until she died on the 23rd, I told myself, you have to spend more time with her. You should go lie down with her for a couple of hours. You're not gonna get this back, ever. But spending that much time doing nothing but laying next to a dog gets tiresome and boring, and I wanted to sleep in my bed and not on the floor next to the dog. Plus, she was still eating a little and drinking a little, so I went downstairs with my parents to watch Mission Impossible because the final one was coming out the next day, and it was my most anticipated movie of the year, so I was very excited. I finished the movie, walked upstairs, and see her lying in her bed, where she's always been, where she's been for the past 16 years, big eyes staring at me. And I just thought to myself, she'll be fine. She's been worse before, she'll be fine. After all, I was excited for the next day and I was in a good mood, so I ruined it by worrying about something that'll probably be fine. Little did I know that the very next morning would be the morning that we had to put her down. She was crying, and whenever one of us left her side, she would almost like yell as if to ask you not to leave. We had no choice but to put her down that very morning. It will be fine, I said. She'll be fine, I said. The "it will be fine" disease is so strong, so powerful, that it got me to think it will be fine about something that I knew pretty much for a fact wasn't going to be fine. It's the power of denial. Denial of reality, denial of the circumstances you face. That's what the "it will be fine" disease is. It has robbed me of so much. Robbed me of spending time with people that I care about. The illusion of time is one of the greatest ones there is. People say it all the time and it's so cliche, but it really is true. We don't have as much time as we think we do. And that's why inaction is so dangerous. You say something will be fine in order to put off doing something, in order to delay something because you don't want to do it. You lie to yourself, tell yourself everything will be fine in order to justify your inaction. And that's become my greatest fear, my biggest regret, inaction. I wanted to sort of tackle it here because this is something that I've been thinking about for months. Why do I feel this sudden need to get as much done as quickly as possible that I never felt before in my life? This year I've been far more urgent, far more wanting to do things, and I think I've found why. It's because of those dangers I learned about, the dangers of the it will be fine mentality, because of those regrets that I may not have recognized till now, but have always been there. The it will be fine mentality has never gotten anybody anywhere. It's a great way to stay where you are. I fear growing up and looking back and wondering what would have been if I did this or if I did that, but instead I opted for inaction because it will be fine. If you continue down that path and you look back, that fine will never be good enough. You settled for fine, and there's no way that the human spirit will ever be fulfilled with fine. And when you're an old man, you will have nothing but regret, and it will be too late to do anything about it. That's why I think it's important for people to recognize that this is a very real disease and a very real state of mind that I think is negatively impacting a lot of people. For example, a month after my brother passed, an old friend from middle school who had moved contacted me for the first time in a long time. He had sort of said how he had no real friends, that his parents never really interacted with him, and how he had developed suicidal thoughts, but he was too scared to go through with them. So I talked with him for a couple of hours, and now I check up on him a couple of hours each month to see how he's doing, make sure he's doing all right. But if this had happened before my brother died, I'm not sure I would have kept contacting him all the time. Maybe I would have said, he'll probably be all right. I'm sure he'll figure it out on his own. Would he still be alive if I had done that? I don't know. When people tell you that they're having suicidal thoughts, you typically are their last cry for help. If I had brushed it off after, the same way I had done before, maybe he would have followed through with it. The point is that this mindset, the it will be fine mindset, is deeply and profoundly dangerous. Not just physically, but on one's very soul. It's crushing on the human spirit. Nobody aspires to be fine. Nobody grows up and says, I hope to be a normal person. No. Everybody dreams of greatness, of being the best there is, of doing everything that you want to do in life. And the it will be fine mentality, the it will be fine mindset, trains you to settle for mediocrity, to shoot for fine, not great. And that is crushing to the very human spirit. Even those who aspire to greatness and fail feel more accomplished and satisfied in life because at least they've tried, they've done things, they've aspired to things. But if all you do is coast along, going through life without any sort of goal, you're looking back at it by the end and ask, what was the point of that? It's kind of boring, wasn't it? So that's sort of everything I wanted to say, Now I know this sort of pseudo-intellectual TED Talk is probably unlike anything you've ever gotten from one of your students before. And trust me, this is unlike any other project I've ever done before. There's no way that any other teacher, even the ones I like, would have gotten anything remotely close to this out of me. This is the realest and most sincere version of me you're ever going to see. And most people don't see this, so consider yourself having done a job well done. And the gratitude project is one that I actually skipped and didn't do an intro year, so I hope this makes up for it. Quickly on the topic of things that I'm grateful for, I can make it about so much, family, friends, etc., but ever since my brother's passing, my relationship with my brothers has gotten much more important to me. And that's sort of why I have this deep connection to film. Before the pandemic, I didn't really talk to or see one of my brothers too much. He lived in the city and I saw him maybe once or twice a year. But after the pandemic, we started calling each other and we would watch movies together over FaceTime. We would both pull up the movie and count down, 3, 2, 1, play, in order to sync up our movies. We still do that to this very day. Every weekend we watch 2 or 3 movies together. And we've grown very close by doing that every weekend for the past 5 years. We talk every day now, whether we watch a movie or not, and we're extremely close, but that relationship wouldn't have been there if it wasn't for cinema. We really bonded over that shared love, and as my relationships with my brothers have only grown more and more important to me over the years, so has my love for film. I think that's a very big part of why I want to go into this industry because I've experienced the power of this art form for myself, the power it has to heal and connect, to bring people together. It is without question that I would not have a stronger relationship with my brother if it wasn't for film. That's why I'm also honestly very grateful for the pandemic in a strange way. Because even though it was a terrible time, and I know you especially hated it, but if it wasn't for it, I wouldn't have started talking to my brothers all the time. My relationship wouldn't have grown or gotten closer. I heard this great quote from a movie that goes, "These moments of crisis are also potential moments of faith, a time where we either come together or fall apart." And I think that quote is a great way I would describe the pandemic. It brought me closer to everyone I care about, and I'm very thankful for that. I'm thankful for all the amazing people in my life that gave it meaning, and not to be cringy, but I'm thankful for your class because I would never have expressed myself in any sort of way if it wasn't for it. So yeah, that was it. That was my very lazy gratitude project, just me talking for a long time because frankly, I'm busy editing Kiwi's projects and also outlining the story for the next episode of Studio 119A. I've also got family stuff, so I haven't really had the time to come up with anything core creative for the gratitude project. So I'm giving you an overly long TED talk instead. Thank you.